Uklasish, Caroline Hilton, Heshquiak Supsish Uklas, Wakatush Koetza Onti. I am Caroline Hilton in my English language. In the Nuu-chah-nulth language from the Heshquiat people, my name means Wakatush, which means big sister. I come from the house of Mamayuch, and the name essentially reflects that I come from a line of the oldest woman. I am the CEO of the Indigenomics Institute. That is a sentence that I'm beginning to get used to and needing to get used to very fast. In terms of the development of the word itself, I believe very strongly that my operating point has to be, it absolutely fundamentally has to be, we are a powerful people. That operating point is essentially how I build Indigenomics from. What is Indigenomics? Indigenomics is a call-out, it's an invitation. It's an inception into the next 150 years of Canada. As Indigenous people, we understand what the first 150 years of Canada looked like. We understand what it felt like. Indigenomics is the creation of space for our modern reality as Indigenous people. It's taking the best of who we are in our relationship, our connection, our worldview, and applying it to how are we successful today? How can we be successful in business? Indigenomics started as a single word. It started on social media. It started on Twitter with a single hashtag. The ability to facilitate from a single word into an entire movement is really something magical, because the power of a single word that did not exist and now exists and has the potential to create change, that is a beautiful thing. And to operate from the central point that we are powerful people, that is what I want to do with the Indigenomics Institute, and the ability to facilitate and drive a media narrative with that operating point. We are economic powerhouses. We are good at business. Our ability to be successful today on our own terms, with our own worldview, that is essentially what Indigenomics is about. What I'm interested in doing is driving an Indigenous economic research that allows the space for our people on our own terms to move beyond the gaps and challenges. We have so much research that says this is what we don't have, this is what's wrong, this is the challenges, we don't have this. The potential to drive the economic research and to be able to drive that from our own terms, that is really the space that Indigenomics is about. Why Indigenomics? Because 76% of Indigenous children in this country live in poverty. That is an experience and a place that's being lived from, that's intergenerational poverty. Why Indigenomics? Because we have treaty relationships that have been broken, because we do not understand what the meaning of the UNDRIP, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. We don't understand as a country what is the right to an economy. Why Indigenomics? Because we still have Canadians that are saying, why don't you just get over it? Why Indigenomics? Indigenomics is a place, an intersection of the neutrality of our relationship. It is neither legally weighted, nor does it have the burden of political relationship that has established and formed this country over the past 150 years. The neutrality of Indigenomics is a place and a point to be able to build from. The concept itself is an inception into the potential of our new reality, that we are powerful people. It is from this place, this ability, that we can see ourselves in our own future. When we have our youth that can see, I will have a job when I get older. I know there's something there for me. I'm connected to my community and the nation that we're building and growing and developing. That is the foundation of Indigenomics. My work in Indigenomics is about an invitation into playing into how do we as Indigenous people remember and operate from our own state of abundance and prosperity that's embedded in our worldview and that we can feel in our blood. That feeling in our blood of our own prosperity and abundance that stems from a worldview that our heritage is essentially spiritual. That a world in global crisis, in global economic crisis, is a reflection of a spiritual reality that Indigenous people, our continuity across time, that continuity has allowed the solutions for the potential of why we are in crisis. A return to our connectivity, a return to our relationships, and a return to who we are as Indigenous people. Let's play in remembering our abundance and our state of prosperity as Indigenous people, to operate from that, to operate from a worldview that is not only relevant, but brings solutions to the world today. Indigenomics is about restoring Canada. It's about telling our truths. It's about those truths that are playing out in the courtroom, that's saying, I have a right to continue. I have a right to an economy. I have a right to be on our land. I have a right to emerge with these intact that allows me to reflect back my indigeneity in a modern day today. That is Indigenomics. Indigenomics is an invitation to let's play in the reawakening of our neural networks as Indigenous people that calls us to become entrepreneurs, that calls us to be remembering our economic trade links and ties and historical connections to each other. That is Indigenomics. Let's play in our resilience that we're still here, because we're not supposed to be here as Indigenous people. I'm not supposed to be here. The policies that form this country, that put our people on Indian reserves, those policies are economic apartheid that essentially establishes the economic performance today. In order to have the economic performance today, the lands and resources required to have a successful Canada now requires a balanced approach. In order to have a successful Canada, we need to have successful Indigenous peoples in business. We need a media narrative that says and supports stories that say we're successful in business. We're successful in our own ability to create and form our economies and our relationships. That is Indigenomics. Indigenomics is an invitation to look at ourselves, to look at in what ways do we retell the story of Canada? In what ways do we support the formation of an economic agenda? My core question that I'm asking in the Indigenomics Institute is how do we collectively grow the Canadian Indigenous economy from its current value in 2016 at $32 billion in 2016? How do we collectively grow that Indigenous economy to $100 billion in 5 years? That is the call out and the invitation to build modern Indigenous economic design. It's possible. It requires new language. It requires new relationships. That is Indigenomics. Indigenomics is a call, an invitation to say, let's play this together. Let's have the courage to do this together. Who wants to play Indigenomics? Thank you.